Woohoo! And we're live once again on another Tuesday, the final Tuesday of December and 2023. And I got some friends in the house today. So we have Debbie and Jeff and Kevin, and we're going to be talking about LinkedIn 2023 year in review. But before we get stuck in, I would like you all to just quickly introduce yourself so that everybody knows who you are and what you do. So we're going to start with you, Debbie. Take it away, birthday girl.
Oh, thank you. Well, that's why they have Boxing Day, you know. I'm Debbie Wemyss, founder of DW Consulting Solutions. We are based in West Palm Beach, Florida, US. Right now, I'm in Nassau for the holiday.
Awesome. Jeff.
Greetings. Namaste, everyone. My name is Jeff Young. I am called the LinkedIn Guru. My network calls me that. If you look up the word guru in the dictionary, you see the word teacher. And that is exactly what I've been doing for the last 16 years on LinkedIn, which accounts for about 950 to 1,000 seminars. And I'm a little bit unique because of the fact that every single one of those seminars has been for free. And people get what they pay for, I'm afraid. With me, I'm going to keep doing it until I get it right. But that's what I do. Namaste.
Awesome. And you're priceless, Jeff. Kevin.
Literally priceless.
Got it. I got it.
I'm Kevin Turner. I'm a stand-up comedian. No, just kidding.
You're a sit-down comedian.
Personal branding is what I do, and help companies, organizations, individuals figure out what it is they do and how do you put it into words, and then how do you get it out there, and also images as well. And that's why one of the things I'm incredibly in love with Gillian for is their ability to do these videos all the time, and it's exciting. So I'm always happy to be here.
Yay. Thank you. So thank you all for coming today. So our topic is LinkedIn 2023 year in review. And I'm going to go back to this one so it's not so far away. And oh my gosh, there has been so much this year that we have gone through, Kevin. You document all of it with your, Turner's team of cats, just getting out the next post. And I love that, like, you went to the article format and then very quickly you had to go to part 2 and to part 3 because there was just so many. And when I compare it to where we were this time last year talking about features, it's like almost doubled what we had the year before. Oh, yeah. So Fast and Furious, who knows what we're going to be talking about this time next year. So why don't we start off? Actually, Kevin, why don't you start off? I'm going to go in reverse order. So Kevin, how about you kick us off and talk about sort of what's happened this year? Because you've documented it. You're not going to list every feature, but kind of just give us that overall, what happened on LinkedIn this year?
I still relate it back. I think when Microsoft came in and they bought LinkedIn, they wanted LinkedIn to change, right? And they set goals for LinkedIn, KPIs, right? You have to perform, you have to deliver. Part of those KPIs were new LinkedIn features so that the platform could evolve, right? And then that way, LinkedIn and Microsoft both taking ownership of all this new development. Well, this year, on top of all that, we threw in all this stuff that Microsoft also invested in, which, is OpenAI and everything else around that, ChatGPT. And all of a sudden you got all this stuff going on. And I really think we're probably going to hit 170 by the end of the year. Now, that's also with 30 updates, right? And 18 rest in peace. Features that just died all of a sudden, went away. They didn't even tell us it was gone, right? On most of them, except for a few big ones. I'm thoroughly amazed that they or be able to do these things as quickly as they can. But then I'm also a little frustrated in the sense that nobody at LinkedIn seems to talk to each other. We have a lot of LinkedIn members who use the article, new LinkedIn features, to find out what they're doing. And that's a little scary to me because, you put too many silos up. I understand a silo can sometimes create creativity and get people excited, but it also can create conflict and issues. And I think that's why we see weird things like bells that don't really work because they've now set up some algorithm over here that they're colliding, right? The same thing with hashtags. They're colliding with the bells. They're colliding with the algorithms. Nobody's saying, let's get all this stuff together and make it work, right? They're just working on their own stuff. And so that to me is a little frustrating. And I will say that there's no way I could document all this. It takes many people. I always say eagle-eyed and sharing hearts that come in, they bring stuff to me. They're like, this is weird. Everybody here has brought me something going, this is really weird. I captured it. What is it? And we try to figure it out. And we sometimes probe LinkedIn a little bit. Sometimes we look through the help, and often we don't find anything. So we have to kind of discover it in that process. But I couldn't do it alone. Love doing it. We'll continue to do it. This is the 4th year. And so next year will be the 5th year. And we'll see what happens. I think we're going to have bigger changes, maybe fewer changes next year. So maybe not 170 new features next year, but I think there's going to be some bigger ones. That's just my thought. And I think it's going to be towards AI and native video. Like today, we're doing what? Restream to get in? Pretty soon, you won't have to. You'll be able to come right to LinkedIn,
StreamYard.
do all your video there, which means maybe profile videos will come back, right? Or we'll have a section and feature where we can just pop videos in and record them as we're doing them.
Yeah.
That kind of native video, I know they're working on that. I'm hoping this is the year. It even changes audio events to be video events. So you can have video discussions with anybody who shows up. Like today, they could actually come up on stage and be part of the video event. So a lot of cool things like that. I think those are they're going to focus more on those big things.
Wow.
Awesome.
Wow. That's good. That's good. I love the prediction. So Jeff, you've been on this platform a long time, and this has been a year that was with a lot of changes, and yet you're hanging in there. You're still happy. It's like, hopefully you got a lot of them before. It felt like last year you were like always the Charlie Brown of the group, the last one to get the new feature. Is that got better for you in 2023?
No. I mean, that's the easy answer to that one. I think this was, for me, 2 things, okay? This was the first year that I ever stopped looking for new features. I mean, it was so overwhelming to me. The numbers that Kevin quotes, and thank God, that other people and Kevin are keeping track of it, because that does help. But about 6 months through the year, I just said, nah. Now, if I notice something on my LinkedIn, I'll see what it's all about. If it's new to me, I'll test it out. I'll try it. Or if I don't know what it really is, I'll go call Kevin. I've got Kevin on speed dial, believe me, okay? But for me, I stopped looking at new features, and I started getting, when I get the new ones, then I start, looking at them and going, oh, well, that's cool. I'll use that. But most of them I've ignored. And honestly, I think that's the overwhelm that a lot of people are feeling on LinkedIn, is that they've stopped looking at the new features, because honestly, it's also a year that I've started to try to focus people on, hey, folks, it's neat to have 170 features and new features. And by the way, if you do the math, that's 1 new feature every 2 days. Yeah, think about that.
Crazy.
1 new feature, that scares me, to no end. But I think I've really started to try to help people concentrate on, hey, folks, let's tell you, because LinkedIn never does, let's tell you what it will take for you to utilize and why you might want to utilize some of the already existing features that so many people aren't even taking advantage of. I mean, you remember the small straw poll I did not too long ago that looked at 20 people that it suggested I connect with, and my suggestions, and I went through and I looked at, I said, okay, how many of these people even have a banner, or a background photo? 3 out of 20. Okay, how many of those people are even on creator mode? 1 out of 20. Okay, now I know all 3 of us use creator mode, and that's one of my favorite things, because creator mode is to me, that's one of the features that's now a long time helped me do what I want to do, which is focus on content and giving people content. Okay, so that sums it up for me, except for one thing, and I think I'm also going to call 2023, the Chinese, what is it? The Chinese year of the snake? I forget. I'm not sure. I can't remember if that's I don't remember. But I'm going to call 2023 the year of the takeaway. for LinkedIn as well. Because, Kevin mentioned the RIPs. They got rid of the fact that you could put up a profile video in June. They finally got rid of took the profile videos down just a few days ago, okay, in December. But all of the other things that were really some of the great ideas that I'd love to see them bring back. I agree with Kevin. Bring back profile video, but let me do it on the desktop in addition to on the mobile, because that was the only place I could put it up, is on the mobile before, right? Carousels that went beta but never even rolled out. Okay, that was the true carousels, not the slider posts, not the thing that people think are carousels, but the true beta carousels that didn't go. Pinned comments. Gosh, I would have loved to have pinned comments. I really miss pinned comments. And by the way, it rolled out, went away before I ever even got it. So I never got to experience pinned comments. Never.
Well, Jeff, I can tell pinned comments has hurt you bad, because technically it was 2022.
Yeah, probably.
Wow.
It's hurt so bad it feels so current when they just teased you and then took it away, didn't even give you a chance, right?
Yeah.
And he still feels the pain.
And I love that feature, and I was so into it. So sometimes getting it and then having him take it away is worse than not getting it and having him take it away, because you invest in it, you're like, this is incredible.
Well, and
I agree.
Well, one other thing that I would call this is the year of the bonus, okay? Because Kevin said, people's KPIs and bonuses are based on new features, okay? And they're also based on the amount of money that LinkedIn makes. And the point being is that now and forevermore, I don't think this is going to be anything. This is a prediction in 2024. I think that LinkedIn is going to focus on. Unfortunately, they'll focus the wrong way, but they're focusing like they're doing here recently by reducing features to free people and only allowing you to get a feature if you pay for it. Okay. Case in point, this has been a big topic. The reduction in the number of personalized invites that people can do in a month is now down to 10. Okay. And also a reduction in the number of characters you can put in the invite as well, from 300 to 200. I have no idea why that was a good idea, but 300 is not a lot, but 200 is less than a lot. Okay.
It's not really personalized. 200.
Here's what, again, my advice to LinkedIn has been this and I'll shut up after I say this. My advice to LinkedIn is to enhance the premium, make it worth the money, but stop taking features away from your free base, because your free base is 6 out of every 10 people on LinkedIn. That's over 600 million people who are using LinkedIn for free. Okay. You still got to support those people too, because if those people go away, you're not going to have as much success as you think you will. Even though you make $18 billion a year, well, excuse me, that's not profit, but you sell $18 billion worth of, a year. But you know what? $18 billion a year is not enough for some people. It'd be enough for me. If you want to give me some of that $18 billion, I'll take it. Anyway.
Well, that's a good recap. So that's good, Jeff. Especially to the difference between premium and free. And I know you and I have done we've done a lot of LinkedIn lives this year, kind of talking about the back to basics approach. And don't be running off to use the premium features when you haven't even figured out the free stuff. So I think that's very valid. So Debbie, what say you on 2023, the year that was?
Whew. Okay, I got my list here, folks. All right. So interestingly, everybody's jumping into the same thing. So I'm going to put my 2 cents in. The very first thing, and this was a fun exercise, because I have to credit a whole bunch of people that did the year in review, because I caught up on lives and audios and, as much as I could fit in. So here's the thing. Because this is the battle cry from our clients after 12 and a half years of helping people to use the site more effectively for branding and marketing. Don't freak out at the number, consistency, and flow of all these changes. Because number one, I think it's not going to stop. Number two, I'll echo everything Kevin and Jeff have said, but here's what I found. And we really, I'm an easy one to freak out at stuff when I'm overwhelmed. It's like, oh my God, what am I going to do now? Here's the thing. Not everybody needs to pay attention to all those changes. plain and simple. There are some things that happen that, and yes, thank you, Kevin, because you're a godsend. But I skip right through some of the things that are in the list because it doesn't affect me. It's not going to affect my clients. It's back end stuff. It's interesting. It's good to know, but it doesn't have to go in my newsletter, which I'm catching up with January, by the way. Completely missed December. No December newsletter, folks. But that was the first thing I wrote down is don't freak out at the number of changes because they don't all affect you and you don't need to focus on all of them. Mm-hmm. So we try to, sift through the myriad of all these changes. And honestly, I really like most of them. I love where Microsoft is headed. I have thought the world of what they've done in the last 6.5 years. I love it. That's why we still love what we do every day. And I feel very blessed for that. Mm-hmm. What I'm excited about and looking forward to and freaking a little bit is everything to do with AI and chat and all that, because I'm just getting into it finally. And it is fascinating. And I just think there's so much good that can come out of it if it is used properly. And I'm waiting patiently. Because right now, our business, my 4 people, we do not use chat in our about narratives. We just don't. We're just writing from the heart. We're writing the way that we've learned to wordsmith. And, that's worked for us for over a decade. It seems more real to us. And I feel like I'm getting pretty good at identifying verbiage that is created by AI. And again, I'm not knocking it. It's just I want it used sparingly and in the right places. And I think ultimately that's going to be a personal choice where people choose to do that. But I love technology. And I came across a reel on Instagram the other day that was just a whole series of very good-looking, handsome movie stars with one dancer, and they were changing out his head. Like he'd spin around and it would be Leonardo DiCaprio, and then he'd spin around again and it would be a whole bunch of other people in a row. I can't explain it, but it was really clever, really clever. And the other thing I saw with AI recently, which was just fascinating, is how they can portray somebody like 20 years from now, what they look like, what they sound like. It's a little creepy if you let it be, but I'm fascinated by it. And I think there's so much good to be had. But I think the biggest advantage for members on LinkedIn Basic is don't shy away from that feed. You need to pay attention to what's going on. You need to, every time you jump on your feed for even 5 minutes, you're going to learn something from someone in your network. And if you just click like, boom, now you're active. That goes on your profile. Stop saying that you don't have time for social media, because everybody has 2 or 3 minutes, and that's really all it takes. So love these get-togethers. I could go on all day, but I will be quiet. So Gillian, what do you think?
Awesome. Well, I'm going to hop over to the comments because I want to get our friends in. And look at this. The first comment is from Kevin. So he's a master that he could do that. And I love it because he's coming via YouTube. So very good, Kevin. Are we there yet? All right. Okay, we have Marnie. Happy birthday, Debbie. Woohoo. I wonder if I have my little balloons.
Put a party hat on me?
Here's my balloons. And my confetti and presents and everything for Debbie, because it is her birthday. And that is awesome that she's spending her birthday with us. And it's Boxing Day for all our Canadian and UK friends across the pond as well. So that's kind of fun. So let me go back to the comments. So thank you, Marnie, for bringing that up. We have Doug. Marnie agreed, missed the profile video cover. Yeah, that's like, if I have to say anything, that was, to me, the saddest loss was the profile video. But you just have to keep moving forward and just say, I guess it's just the way it has to be, and come up with alternatives. And I'm going with what Kevin says. I think something bigger and better is coming. So maybe things just have a natural shelf life, not like the comments pin. We want that back, please, LinkedIn, if you're listening. But okay, with the video, let's do new stuff. And I'm all for that. I would love it. And like you said, Jeff, let us do it from the desktop as well, because I know if I open up WhatsApp, I can do a video from the desktop. I can watch it. I can send them. So if I can do it in WhatsApp, why can't I do it in LinkedIn?
I think that's the biggest reason that LinkedIn said there wasn't enough participation in profile video, because people didn't realize I'm on my desktop. I got to open my own mobile. I got to do this. I got to build it over here on, with Canva. And then I got to, you're transferring files everywhere.
Exactly.
And I think that's, again, they know that that's got to change if they want video to be successful on LinkedIn. So
the easier they make the steps, the more people are going to jump in. I've seen that over and over and over. And I think it's so timely for you, Gillian, because you've got so much to offer, as far as your expertise. But guaranteed, if they make it doable from desktop, I'll be doing 10 times the amount of video.
It should be
I'm
the
doing
same
now.
way, whether it's desktop or mobile, right? Depending on how you flow, it should work the same way, basically, so that you can use it. Everybody can use it that way.
Yeah. Yeah. And so are you thinking, Kevin, that we might even get native live videos, sort of like what you have in Facebook, where you literally could just push that go live and go live to the LinkedIn stream or whatever?
Yeah. I think that's all what they're focusing towards.
Wow. I can see a
they'll
lot
make
of people.
Premium feature.
Yeah. I can. Well, yeah, there is that. There is that. So, wow. Okay. Mary Wu says, I would love audio events as video events. Yes. And also to I think it would really be nice if you could make some of these things for groups, because if you want to get groups better on LinkedIn, because that is one thing. If I was on Facebook, I could be streaming to my group. I could be streaming to my profile. I could be streaming to my business page. There's so many different places, but groups is big. And if you ever want to make groups relevant on LinkedIn, give us social audio or give us social video. Either one would be great. So
that'd be awesome.
Yay.
And I don't know if they'll ever do that. You know why?
Yeah. Why?
Because groups break the 6 degrees of separation, where you can meet anybody in the world within 6 handshakes, right? That's why LinkedIn cuts you off at 3. So they can sell you the other 3, or the other 3 can be sold to you. I mean, back and forth. Groups break that. You're in a group, and all of a sudden now I can talk to anybody else in that group. They could be 6 degrees away, but I can talk to them. So why would I pay for premium? Or why would I pay for recruiter, right? Or why would I pay for navigator? I just have to find the right groups. And that's why LinkedIn has, I think, suppressed groups all the time, because they don't want it to take off like that. And I don't know if that'll change.
Well,
I wish it would. I don't know if it will.
Sense.
How many new features you may not know this, Kevin? How many new features that we saw of the 170 were enhancements to groups? Not many.
Maybe 6.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Okay.
Yeah. And they weren't all that impressive either.
They were minor.
Gave you back something you used to have.
Well, one of the things that, again, it's people don't know what they don't know. Okay. So, one of the things that I've always recommended is that if you belong to a group and you really love a group, hey, there's a bell on the group that you can ring as well, just as much as you could ring somebody's bell on a profile. Ring that bell on the group and say that you want to see everything that comes out of that group. But you can't belong. I mean, there's a limit, but it's a huge number. You can belong to 100 groups.
Yeah.
Okay. Who in their right mind would want to belong to 100 different groups? I think it's a matter of niching down and focusing and strategically using each of these kinds of things. Because even if it's a bell on a profile, I've only rang the bell on people's profile maybe 30 or 40 people at most, and I'm not as I'm the guy who describes myself as anal retentive, but I bet you Kevin knows how many people's bells he's actually rung, because he keeps separate. He keeps a separate list of them, don't you? Yeah.
I do.
I never did that. I just chose the people and went with that. Okay.
I do it really easy too. I take a picture, a screenshot. When I ring the bell, I screenshot it and I throw it into a file. And then not only do I know who visually, I can see who, right? They're all there. I can see when.
Yeah.
And
well,
so,
the good news.
Yeah, it's easy.
The good news here is that I've been able to make the I want to get back to AI as well, because I want to talk a little bit more about AI in terms of what they'll do in the future. But I like what LinkedIn has done with AI so far. but let's keep Chat GPT and all that kind of stuff about, creating text with AI out of it, because I don't need that. Here's another one of those things like Debbie mentioned. It's not applicable to me. Okay. I've been writing my own stuff for this long, and I can't find an AI that sounds like me. Okay. Nothing sounds this old. Okay. So I'm not going to use AI for that, but I have taught the AI to do what I want it to do on LinkedIn and give me the stuff that I want to see on LinkedIn. That's the coolest part. The bells that I've rung, the hashtags that I've followed, all of those kind of things get me to where I can get to my content as quickly and as easily as possible. Okay. That's the AI I want more of. The AI that allows me to tailor what I'm after so that I can actually interact with the broadest perspective of my network.
Can I go back to groups for one quick second?
That makes sense.
Sure.
It tied in with
Absolutely.
the limited 10 personalized invitations a month now, the chokehold on the free memberships. Okay, I understand it. Not happy with it yet. Someday I hope they reverse it. It doesn't look like they're going to. So now we're looking into pretty deeply changing all of our coaching, because for 12 years, personalize every invitation. Well, you can't anymore. So one of the things I just came up with over the weekend was going back to groups, which frankly, this could generate a little bit of activity, a little spark in activity with groups. Because if I'm not mistaken, when, who wants to join 100 groups? Well, nobody. But if I'm not mistaken, isn't it still true that when you join a group and you're accepted, all of those members are swept into your network? They can now find you in organic searches. Is that still true? I hope.
I know you can contact them.
Yes.
Sure.
But they're able to find you in their network. Like I've always taught people that in order to be found by somebody doing an organic search, you either have to be first, second, or third to them, or having joined the same group that they're in. And that's the reason.
Connected by group is kind of an extra expansion.
Exactly.
Right?
And why not?
If you're
There's
trying to
hundreds.
build a network, adding a 6th degree to your network actually expands your network more rapidly than if you add another 2nd degree, right? Because they know each other. You look at somebody and they go, "Oh, I've got a lot of mutual connections with you."
Yeah.
That's the person I don't want to connect with. I want to go with the one that says, "I have no connection with you except we're in the same group." That one's going to expand my network, right?
Yeah. My heart breaks for people that are brand new, and same breath, Ryan's saying we got 5 new members every second out there joining. Okay, they don't have any 2nd level people yet. They don't have a network yet. They are brand new. So they get 10 opportunities a month to personalize an invitation, which is going to increase their chances of immediate acceptance by 5 times, according to Microsoft's research. So let's get those people searching into some groups of value to them. Either, depending on what their goal is, job seekers, they're going to want to get into groups that cater to whatever it is they're shooting for, along with signing up or following LinkedIn pages. There are other ways for people to build their network than personalized invitations, but this is really forcing us to get crafty. I can't complain about it, but it really sparked me about groups, because frankly, I'm nowhere near as active in groups as I used to be, but I belong to about 70 of them. But I have all those people. They can find this LinkedIn expert if they need her, But I thought that was an interesting thing, maybe way in the background of LinkedIn's head of, attracting more attention to groups, because that's certainly where a little bit of our training is going to shift over to is, don't forget those group members being swept into your network.
Well, it's more about them people understanding that groups even exist. Okay,
yeah,
because
that's true.
LinkedIn is not advertising groups. You're going to start advertising groups, right?
Right.
And I'm going to start pushing people toward groups, and I'm constantly helping people within my own group, because I've run a group now since June of 2014. I think it's been a long time.
Yeah.
Right. So those people are it's not a huge group, but it's a good group. I'll give you one more. While we're on the subject of defeating, if you will, the limitation of 10. Okay. I've got another one for you, and you guys are going to be surprised at this one, because guess who? Jeff Young is actually going to recommend that you use the mobile app. Okay.
Ah,
Yeah,
yay.
exactly. Oh my gosh. What's wrong? Who are you and what have you done with Jeff Young, right? Okay. My point being is that on the mobile app, there's this thing called a QR code. And if you're standing right next to someone, you can bring yourselves to your profiles and connect without having to do a personalized invitation. So you can just, bam, connect directly since you're already face-to-face, and we're doing more face-to-face networking now anyway. So use the, yep, there it is. Thank you, Kevin. Right on cue. Yeah, but or right on QR, actually, I should say. Sorry, but use that kind of effective way to use the tool for what you wanted to do in the first place, which is network and connect with people. Okay, I think groups and maybe the mobile app will actually get more functionality and help people network a lot more.
And speaking of mobile, oh, I'm sorry. Did I cut you off, Gillian?
No, I was just going to also say events, whether we're talking audio events or LinkedIn live events, this is another networking advantage where if you don't have, if you're on the free plan, this is a great place to meet people is during an event and after an event. But continue.
And with that networking tab, you can actually reach out to anybody who said they were coming to the event, whether they showed up or not. You can reach out to them directly. You can send that personalized invite beyond the 10 through that process. Hey, would you like to connect? That nobody stops you from.
Good stuff. More good stuff.
At that point,
I like that a lot.
Send you a blank invite, right? And it's beautiful. It would be the only way you would get Richard Branson to respond to you. You got on stage, you said something intelligent, and then you followed up and said, "Hey, would you like to connect?" I'm sure he's maxed out. That would be the only other reason. But when else would you get that guy to answer the phone? No. Take an email?
That's
no.
true.
Send post? No. This is one of those times where you can actually make that happen. And I think my favorite thing to do on audio events is when somebody's speaking, I always take a screenshot of them speaking and a little green ring around it, right? And I shoot that right to them because during the event, you can, again, communicate with any of these people. And I sent them a direct thing just saying, hey, I know you were on stage. I thought it was brilliant when you said ABCD. And I know you probably didn't get a screenshot of yourself. So here's my gift. You start a relationship now with a gift. That's always a good way, right? Many countries, you can't begin a relationship without bringing a gift first. It works here. And I've found that to be extremely valuable. And then what normally happens is they post that afternoon or the next day and they say, oh, and by the way, my new connection,
my new friend,
sent this to me.
Wow. Wow.
So it has a nice little kind of effect there as well. But getting creative within LinkedIn, there's a lot of things you can do on that freemium that all these new features, they don't really matter because the core basics of LinkedIn, which is networking, is all there. You just have to get creative in how you do it. And I think, there's so much opportunity there. It is incredible. Anybody not doing it's wasting their time.
So Kevin, a quick question. The message that you can send someone to within a group and or within an event, an audio event or a LinkedIn live event, is that the same as an in-mail or not? Is that a different kind of message? Okay.
Well, some of them will be in mails. Some of them will be direct messaging, depending on whether that individual has open account, right? That they're open to any messages, then it's just a direct message. If they don't, LinkedIn will give you a free in-mail for those who have closed that door, and you still can get in that way. And then that's where you end up just saying, hey, if you'd like to connect, I'll send you a blank invite. Apologize for being blank, but it's on its way.
Right. So for example, Gillian, when someone joins my group, I send a direct message to every single person that joins my group. Okay, so whether I'm connected with them or not, they are going to get a message from me. But it does come, as Kevin says, it does come out as an in-mail that they actually have to accept that message request. Okay, but I use that every single time, and I have a pretty high rate of success with it. People will actually respond to it because I actually send them a welcome to my group message with then an also quick template of, by the way, here are the rules. Okay. And again, it's all in a matter of telling people what they, because I'm not assuming that they're going to look at the rules of the group when they've joined the group. I'm going to
Right.
give them that group. And oh, by the way, then I also, by the way, if they respond, I also send them a little bit of a tip as well. Oh, by the way, did you know that you can actually search for specific keywords inside of a group only? Okay. There's another one that not a lot of people know about. So when you do a search, you can do a search inside of a group for specifics and get only the posts that are about that keyword or whatever phrase you use inside the group as well.
Right.
So again, groups are a great place to network or even begin relations. Okay.
I love it.
Using it the right way, as Kevin said.
And bottom line, it's always about relationship building. Doesn't matter what year we're in. It's always about that. So that's really good. Couple more comments. Love the pinned comments. Wish we could lobby LinkedIn to bring them back. They're still in groups though, aren't they? They're still like group admins. You can have a pinned comment
you have
in a
one
group.
that you can pin.
Okay.
One post that you can pin, and same thing within business pages. You can still pin a post on business pages.
Okay. All right. Steve asks, is there a way to tell what percentage of my connections are premium? Ooh, that's a good one.
Sort.
Thoughts, guys?
Sort. Go to your profile. Go into, you're going to have a live link to your connections. And when you start sorting them, you can break them down first, second, third. It's a manual way to do it. I don't know. If you have a huge network, it might be a little time consuming.
Yeah.
Right off the bat, that's what comes to my mind.
On the sort results, will it show if a person is premium or not? I don't think the gold symbol shows on the sort results, does it?
It should have the badge.
But it's not something
but
that
they don't always
download.
they don't always display their badge either.
Yeah.
Right. They don't always display their badge either. So the only way to be absolutely certain is to see it on their profile to be absolutely certain.
Yeah.
Or see certain features that they're using, which, by the way, will tell you whether or not they're premium or not. Having that little link to use my services or use the little link that shows up with them on their messages and those kind of things. That's one of the premium services, for example.
And that's business premium.
Good question.
Right. And that probably, I have to tell you, as I think I'm the only free person in the house. Maybe Jeff is. Jeff, you go back and forth. So I never know if you're free or not. You're on premium. Okay. So the only thing that I, as the free person in the group, I think that I have envy of that call to action that goes everywhere with you, book an appointment or go to my this or whatever. I think that's actually probably one of the coolest things LinkedIn has done this year.
Yeah, it's driven business for me. I've had people contact me through that link. I wish it were bright blue like a regular hyperlink because I think it'd be 10 times that. I mean, I've had business pages where, they could send a message directly. I've got nothing on 3 business pages that have had that for many months. Nobody does it, but I do get people clicking on that and sending me a message and beginning a process that leads to opportunities. I think it's a brilliant thing. I'm amazed that they pulled it off, because I know that took a lot with LinkedIn's, I guess, kind of equity positioning. Everybody has an equal right for opportunity within the platform. Premium is kind of a way of saying yes, and if you pay, you get even better, right? Which doesn't make equity or equal or anything to that effect. So I was actually amazed they did it, and I hope it stays because I think
on every level. Is it on all premium levels, like every kind?
Premium, which means if you got into Navigator or Recruiter, you also have it, right? But if you had, let's say, Learning
Career,
premium, you don't get it. Career Premium, you don't get it. It has to be Business Premium.
Oh, okay. That's
so
good to know.
So it's a tiered approach. You pay more, so you got more. Okay, which is actually not a bad approach. I don't mind that approach at all.
That's the way they should have always been building premium. And for a long time, you really couldn't tell much difference between premium and free.
True.
So AI was their focus for a while. If you wanted AI, you had to pay.
Yeah.
And that, I thought that was brilliant because I love hate with AI, right? I always say it can be an incredible muse, but a terrible artist. And as we all know, muses can get you in as much trouble as they can get you out of. You know what I mean? AI is exactly that way. And so by making it premium, I know it brought in a lot of people into their premium fold. And I don't know if everybody knows this, but LinkedIn's premium is, I think, one of the top, what do you call it, membership clubs in the world globally.
Wow.
It's almost 15% of the membership is premium. Now that includes Recruiter and Navigator, so not just premium, but 15%. And it's the world's largest, supposedly, membership program out there. It's also one of the most profitable.
Wow. And look at this comment. I thought it was interesting to bring this comment in. So Marnie says, can you address the possibly fear-based hype about the direction of the monetization of LinkedIn? And Kevin, you have always said that's what LinkedIn's here for. They're here to make money.
Yeah, it's not a social good site. It's not Craigslist, right? It is a business. Always has been a business. I've never had any problem with LinkedIn charging for things. The only thing I ever thought, and I think we all agree on this, they shouldn't take away anything from freemium. Leave it as is. The only thing they've really ever done that with has been this invite. And there's a group on the inside that are saying they did it for different reasons, and we think they did it. I'm not sure I agree with them. They're saying the free invites were being abused by spammers. And so that was their reasoning to limit it, because you can open up a free account and you can open up 150 free accounts today if you wanted to, right? If you were bad enough, you could do it. And then you had all this wide open invites, 100 plus a week, depending on how you perform. You could create a lot of nefarious activity on LinkedIn really quickly. But when they made it 10, then they believe it stopped that process. And right now, LinkedIn is all about security, from this ID verification to, the biometrics they just came out with in the last couple of days that we've been kind of waiting for it to appear. They're doing a lot around security. And so I kind of believe some of it, but I think it was probably began that way. And then they said, oh, and by the way, we could probably make some more money too. And they're like, let's go.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. No, but I think that's for the wrong reasons to some degree, Kevin. It's just my personal opinion. But
I don't disagree.
I get the reasoning behind it. The fact that they said if we limit the number of invitations, personalized invitations, that will eliminate some of the fake accounts and those kind of things, right? But what it didn't eliminate is, and again, it's kind of like robbing Peter to pay Paul. Okay, because of the fact that what they didn't eliminate is the fact that anybody who wants to can create as many new accounts as they want to. So now the spammers and the fake accounts are just going to create more fake accounts. Okay, and believe me, that's something that I've been harping about all year long as well. I'm not sure that's going to get any better unless LinkedIn changes the way that they're focusing on eliminating free accounts.
They are, and that's one thing.
And I really
security, I think, is a core.
One of the things they did was they lowered the, everybody was up in arms there for a little while. It didn't bother me, but everybody was up in arms because their follower count went down. Okay. Well, if the followers that disappeared are fake accounts and those kind of things, I don't care. Yeah. They weren't real followers anyway, right? Yeah. So that didn't bother me at all. But what does bother me is that I'm still seeing, and I don't have real evidence to this. I will be the first to say that I don't have any scientific evidence to prove this. But anecdotally, I'm still seeing, and I'm still getting a whole bunch of messages and all those kinds of things, and I'm still seeing a ton of fake accounts out there. Okay, again, that part of the symptom of the problem here is that I'm guessing. Okay, but this is my anecdotal guess, is that I think at least 10% of the 1 billion people that are out there are fake accounts.
I think you're selling it short.
Okay,
it's 30%.
I said as much as 20. I've said 10
if you look at the numbers that we claim are U.S. members, right? The number of U.S. members is already greater than the workforce between the age of 18 and 65. Yeah. It's already 15 million greater than that workforce. That means everybody in the workforce would have to have a LinkedIn account, plus an extra 15 million.
And we know better.
We know. Yeah. And I look back and I thought, well, if you gave it, let's say 80% of the people in the workforce between 18 and 65 have a LinkedIn account. And that's, I think, maybe dreaming a bit. I don't think that many do. If you did that, I did that math, and it came out to be about a 30 to 40% potential for fakes.
Wow.
I know LinkedIn knows this. I know LinkedIn is after this. They want to rectify that too, because fakes are costing them. That's why people are getting locked out of their accounts, because it's getting harder to make a fake, but it's still easy to steal an account.
Yeah.
Right. LinkedIn has been bridged a few times security wise. Our emails are all out there. They can take a brute force approach to getting into our accounts. If we have not set up either this new biometric with key, or we've not set up, minimally two-step verification, we're being dumb, right? Because they're going to come after our accounts. And the more active we are, the more we're focused in areas they want to be, they're going to go after those accounts. And they get in there, they lock you out first thing. They might change the name, they might change the email, but they're going to lock you out. That's going to be number one. And from there, what they're going to do is probably approach your network with a quick link. Hey, this is Jeff, and I've got a free downloadable for you. Good portion of your network, Jeff, would download that. While you're trying to get back into LinkedIn, which you could get back in successfully probably within 24 hours, they've already been exposed. And Jeff, if you told your network you had a gift for them, the majority of them would probably click on it. And then they're in the same boat. Their account has been taken over. That's bigger now than creating fake accounts.
When you work hard to get that reputation and someone steals that reputation, that's a bad thing.
And that's one thing I love that LinkedIn's doing, because I know it's a pain. It's happened to me. It's happened to everybody, where we get locked out, and it's because they see some activity that's really strange. Usually it's brute force kind of trying to throw as many passwords as it can with your email in there to get in. And it's saying, you didn't make that many. You didn't do that many to get in. We know that. You guys, you get it right every single time when you log in. So we know if it's more than one, more than two, we're going to put a stop. And I'm glad they're doing that. It's a pain to get back in, to get everything straightened out, but it's important. And I know when they're doing that, they're stressing to people, put two-step on. Everybody who's gotten locked out that way did not have two-step.
Got to mention something, you guys, because I just flew from Florida to Bahamas, which is considered international. Very interesting in immigrations, because I had done the ID verification on my LinkedIn profile. That created a clear account for me automatically. That turned into something very valuable, to skip 9 lines of people and be led by a security TSA person right to the front of the line, looked into the eyeglass thing, and it was biometrics. My irises were checked. They said, go right ahead. I was like, whoa.
Oh, I joined Clear 11 years ago, maybe 12 years ago.
You've been an international traveler for a
when
long
I heard
time.
LinkedIn was using Clear, I was like, okay. I think I was like, well, as soon as it was available, I was in and got it done. And
just want to emphasize the importance. It only takes less than 5 minutes to do that ID verification. It puts a shield on your profile. It tells people you're real. You're not a bot. You're not a fake. The two-step verification under settings and privacy, and take a second and pull out the mobile and do your name pronunciation, even if your name is Tom Smith. That's a 10-second free marketing plug to do whatever you want to do with. But those 3 things will help to further validate that you're real. And that's really important these days.
Especially if you're a freebie, if you're on the free plan and you can't send those, you run out of those invitation invites because you only got 10. If somebody comes to check you out because you gave them this like bland invite, at least they can see you are a real person. And that's what I was sad about the profile video going, because I didn't see any fake accounts with profile videos. That to me was like pretty much nobody was taking that time to have fake videos. So, but that verification, I think that was probably a really good thing that LinkedIn brought. And it doesn't cost us anything. Like you look at Twitter.
That they've organized to make sure globally it doesn't cost anything. I think that's fantastic.
Yes.
The other thing people don't realize is the companies that are using, the organizations are using third party. LinkedIn doesn't get your passport, doesn't get your driver's license. all they're getting is a verification that that company, Persona being most of the world, Clear being US, Canada, I had an interesting email today about that. I'll tell you about that in a moment. Those are processes where all they're doing is verifying that you match the document you show, that the document's original, you're original, they matched through biometrics. That's all they're telling LinkedIn is, yep, Jeff is Jeff, Gillian's Gillian, Debbie's Debbie. That's it. And LinkedIn,
Thank
because
goodness
the
it's only
relationship
one of us.
trusts that. And so nobody's going to break into LinkedIn and get your driver's license that way.
Right.
If LinkedIn ever has you locked out, they may ask you for that driver's license and you're thinking, well, I already gave it to you with Clear.
Yeah.
You didn't,
No.
because they don't keep it. They will ask for it again. And
Right.
LinkedIn, thank goodness, destroys that information once they verify.
Right.
Yeah. So, and I know Debbie, we had a fun one with getting Debbie on because she didn't want to go with her real full, birth certificate name, right?
Yeah.
And you can go with that one, you get it launched, and then you can change it as long as it's within a relevant range. LinkedIn's not going to say anything.
Yeah, I've got my phonetic pronunciation as my maiden name, Weemz. That's one way around a Scottish name like mine.
Yeah.
It's good.
So
It's good.
They're trying to be flexible.
So, Jeff, I know you do a newsletter. Kevin, I love, and Jillian, are you doing a newsletter?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
I went a couple of months without it, but I kicked in last week and did my final one for the year.
Did you get that added to your analytics yet? Because that just came into my analytics
Recently.
like 2 weeks
Very
ago.
recently.
So I love that.
That's neat.
I love that. I got a 500% increase. I'm like, wait a minute, I didn't put out a December issue.
Yeah.
It's bad when you do better when you're not there.
It's in the dashboard of all of the analytics.
and we
It'll just show up.
Anyway,
and I think
cool.
that's something that we've seen over this past year, a lot of changes to the newsletters, and that I think there's the ability that you can have multiple newsletters. Then there was the whole different layout of the newsletters. I used last week for the first time, the templates that you can now save your newsletter as a template. Oh my gosh, that saves so much time. So that kind of stuff is really good. There's all sorts of great things with newsletters. So I think that, and even if people follow you, LinkedIn just sends them a little, hey, maybe you want to check out their newsletter. So they're a lot to promote those newsletters.
Yeah. I like it.
I like the system. I think it's smart. I don't do it monthly, but I should.
Well,
maybe
you do it daily.
But I only try to send it out when I've got something that I think just blows up the world. That's when I'm going to send it out. And it seems to be working. It's not consistent, but people know if that one shows up my email, right, I'm going to look at it because it's not going to waste my time. And I think that's interesting. I noticed looking at my analytics over the last couple of years. Last year, I was trying to post 3 to 4 times a week, and that was a lot of work. And I changed this year to 2 to 3 times a week. My numbers are exactly the same as far as exposure, and my engagement is actually increased by posting less. And I think it's human nature, right? They always say distance makes the heart grow fonder. Right? If you're there every single day, pounding on people every single day with posts 3 times a day, some people, you're not going to get better engagement.
No.
Right?
For at
and
least
the numbers are going to come out about the same if you just reduce it a little bit, focus on what's really important, and then you're a little less stressed, right? You're not trying to come up with something every single day and pulling your hair out and, find that pace. I think there's a lot of bad information out there on stuff like that, but those metrics are nice because you can now start comparing and learn on your own, right? On what really impacts you and your network.
Yeah, I think metrics are for you to compare to yourself, not for you to compare to anyone else in the first place.
Absolutely. Totally
Everybody
agree.
agrees with that one. And for the second year in a row for me, I am posting less, but getting more engagement and getting more views.
Yeah.
So, that's amazing to me that, that can happen. I mean, I love people who can come up with ideas for 5 straight days, every single weekday and that kind of stuff. But honestly, I don't have time to interact with all that stuff. So I pick and choose, again, the people that I have on speed dial that I can go to. And usually I'll pick at least, if they've got a theme of a Monday post that is the same kind of post every week, I'll go to that one and I'll interact with that one. So I won't ignore them. I can't ignore them. They're part of my network. Why would I want to ignore them? It's, again, about building relationships, right?
Yeah.
But it makes the most sense to post when you have something of value to post in the first place, right? You guys know me. I love acronyms. Okay, I talk about this all the time. Give long and prosper. Okay, and give is an acronym. Be generous, be interesting, be valuable, be exceptional. Okay?
There you
That's
go.
what I do.
I love that. So Daisy here is asking about our thoughts on newsletters, which we actually just talked about. And she says, I have so many subscription invites, 37 at last count. If I accept them all, I would be on LinkedIn forever. So this is very interesting. She's talking about best practices for subscribing, not pushing yours out there. So what do we have to say to Daisy in terms of, how about just you guys? Which ones are you reading? How do you sort it out? Because I'm like Daisy. I would be here all day. I'm getting picky.
It's like a buffet, right? You can fill that plate like this, but if you're not going to eat that, don't take it, right? Take what you want. Don't be worried you might offend somebody. You can always check in on them once in a while and see what articles, because a newsletter becomes an article. So you can always check their articles every now and then. You don't have to overtake more than you're going to eat, And so
you learn to be selective. Yeah. That's all. You don't need all of it. I subscribe to a couple of other LinkedIn experts, hello, on screen, and a few overseas, they knew who they are. But yes, you're right. You could be on LinkedIn all day. And the important thing is time management. And it goes back to posting too. If you don't have time to follow and interact with who's interacting with your posts, then don't do it that day or that hour. Be mindful of what you're going to do to go back on people that are helping you. And
newsletters are a little more asynchronous, right? Not like a post where you think I got to respond now. A newsletter, I might go back and look at my newsletters tonight, check out a couple of them that I didn't read, and then make.
I love newsletters because they're not only long form, but they're long term. Okay, that information stays out there for a long period of time, and I'm actually pointing people to newsletters that I've done over 2 years ago, a lot of times. Okay.
That little ellipsis, the 3 dots in the upper right corner of every post, invitation, article, etc. That on my homepage feed has become my favorite button, because as I read through my feed, I hit that ellipsis and I save it. And I have a whole bunch of stuff saved on the left margin of my homepage, and I call it my happy hour button.
There you go.
I go back there and read it when I have time, and relax, and I can absorb stuff.
Well, those 3 dots, LinkedIn calls the more icon.
Yep.
So when you think about it as the more icon, I want more. I click the 3 dots and there's going to be more options of everything, right? So anywhere you see it, that's going to be the more options button. It's their more icon. So that goes back to that using LinkedIn's lingo so we don't get in trouble, because when you think about like carousels that blew up, everybody thought, oh, I'm missing my document posts. But they never knew them as document posts. I always label everything, put a bracket around them, because that's what LinkedIn has decided to call it, whether you like that name or not. Right? That's what they call it.
Like banners. There's not banners.
Somebody else calls it.
Oh my gosh. Wait, you mean I have to stop saying ellipsis and I have to call it the more button?
The more icon.
Yeah, okay.
Magic 3 dots.
There you go.
I like that. I like the magic 3 dots.
Funny.
Makes us sound like leprechauns. So that's good. So we're almost at the end of an hour, if you can believe it. It just flew by, and there's a gazillion comments, and we will address them all afterwards. So just know that we are troopers. We never leave people hanging high and dry. So we will be sure to continue the conversation in the comments for everybody who joined the live, plus people who add in new ones as we move forward with the replay. So what I'd like to do is just kind of end it up in the last minute or so. If you could just kind of give a summary of I'll start with you, Debbie, because you just watered up. So I'll start with you. So just
here.
basically, what's your final thought on 2023 for LinkedIn, and what are your thoughts? Closing thoughts.
Totally be open to change because it's going to keep coming. Hopefully they'll bring us improvements in different areas of the platform that mean the most to us. Above and beyond, take every advantage of every option to stay in touch, whether it is reacting on posts, sending a message through the messaging center. My favorite, the voice message, get it correctly. Using that mobile app, but stay in touch with your network, especially the people that mean the most to you. Obviously your clients, but there's so many ways to do that. You don't have to spend hours on it. I have just mentioned 4 different areas where I'm now compartmentalizing little bits of time as much as I can every day, and just to be more consistent with being engaged. That's what it's all about.
Wonderful. Thank you, Debbie. Jeff.
Well, I think 2023 has actually been overall a very, very good year because they did improve the product. Okay. I'm hopeful. My focus is on the future. I would tell people the same thing as Debbie. It's not going to stop changing. So just continue to use it. Use the parts that are most valuable to you. And more than anything else, make it strategic so that you can use it effectively. Okay. Because one of the things that kept me from using LinkedIn effectively this year to some degree is LinkedIn's infrastructure. We didn't really touch upon this, but I want to touch upon that as far as the future is concerned, because I want LinkedIn to concentrate on its infrastructure as we go forward. If you see a glitch on LinkedIn, wait an hour. Okay, it'll probably disappear. Okay, because it is a big product, and it's this big monster thing that that moves on its own impetus every once in a while. But I'm hopeful that LinkedIn will actually bite the bullet this next year and take into account the fact that we need to put this product on a different infrastructure that will allow us to do some of the things that we've been talking about. And a lot of people that I talk to are good with, including myself, if you need to shut this thing down for a week to 2 weeks, shut it down, but bring it back up into that environment where, I can do without LinkedIn for a week or so if you will fix these kinds of problems so that I won't have the infrastructure problems that I've had in the past. Okay. So, look to the future because, LinkedIn's been around for over 20 years. I'm going to celebrate my 20th anniversary on LinkedIn next year. Okay. It's going to be around for a long time. It is not going away, and you might as well use it for what it's intended. And that is to just like everything else, it's like air. You need it to survive. Network, network, network.
Love it. Love it. Kevin.
I get it in the sense that LinkedIn will always evolve, right? And Jeff's absolutely right as well in the sense that maybe they should take that time and break it completely and then put it together the right way. I don't know if they'll do that. I wish, I think that'd be incredible. I don't think they will ever turn LinkedIn off. And, they might build a secondary LinkedIn and then have a switch day, much like rollouts, right? Where you switch accounts in and it's all still connected into the database. I think they might take that approach. It's probably more expensive, but I think like a restaurant, right? Restaurants don't close to remodel normally. They open up another location nearby and they work that and then they move everybody over because they're always afraid they're going to lose those customers, right? And so I think LinkedIn will probably take that kind of approach. And I think they're doing it in segments already. For them to bring in audio events 2 years ago, that was a huge expense into these kind of new racks of data and processing that they needed. They did it in a kind of segment behind the scene and then turned it on. So I think that may be more likely what they would do, but they got to do it because it's got to be frustrating the heck out of them, right? I think Jeff uses this term a lot too, and I do too, spaghetti coding, right? You pull one noodle out and then 4 more break. It's going to continue on. It's not going to get any better. Never does. The drier the noodle, right? The more likely they are to break. These are pretty dry. I think they do have to get down to that. And I think that's part of what they are doing, with the movement they're taking. So, I'm excited about that. I always tell people, don't worry about new features. I like to track them. To me, they're like icing on the cake, right? You really need to eat the cake. The icing is nice. You don't need all of it. Sometimes I scrape off a little icing, right? You don't need all that icing, but it's there. You should know about it because it might be a piece that helps you, and only probably us four here use everything once at least, right? Everybody else, just use what you want, use what you have, know what's coming so you can plan. But don't ever get in a panic. LinkedIn is going to introduce these things in the 5 waves. You're going to get one at some point, and it'll all be fine. Don't worry about it. There's nothing worse than getting a new LinkedIn feature before it's baked, and it blows up and it tears down your account and it does other things, or you spend 50 hours feeding it and then they take it away, right? Sometimes it's best not to be first. Sometimes it's actually best to be in the middle, and I don't worry about it anymore. And that's one of the reasons I got other people to help me find stuff, right? Because I can't always find it. Yeah. Now, what I thought was interesting, and I had an internal conversation, 70% of the people who get a new feature do not know for over 35 days.
I believe it. I believe it.
But you probably had it 35 days ago. 70% of the people did. They just didn't know what it was, right? That's why it's really important to get the word out. And we all do that. We all help people understand sometimes what's coming so that when it does hit day one, you're live and running with it. You know what it does. You know how to do it. You know how to use it, or you don't need it. But that's important because LinkedIn doesn't communicate that. Their concept was it would always blow up help. If we had 5-wave rollout and you didn't get one of those waves, then you'd be calling help, and help's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Just a big mess. So that's why they don't communicate it. By the time executive management at LinkedIn tells you about it, it's already been out there for quite some time with most people. So just, be patient. It'll be there when it's right for you. And don't always wish to have the first.
I love it. I love it. Okay. So then I would just add in my 2 cents would be follow this guy. Everybody needs to make sure that they're following Kevin and be part of the village, that if you see something, say something. So many people will come to me and they'll say, oh my gosh, do you have this? And I say, no. And I go tell Kevin, because they think, well, maybe it's just me. Go tell Kevin. He'll tell you, nope, came out on this date. Don't need it. But Kevin would like to know. So if you see something, say something to Kevin. And also screenshots. They're so important. And don't you always say, maybe think about backing up your data when LinkedIn gets glitchy, back up your data. And then the other thing that I would say is that it's really important to follow quality people, like my guests here today. All 3 of these guests are people I encourage everybody to follow. Find those trusted LinkedIn experts that just share from the heart. And just, there's so many others out there. And that is the whole goal with my LinkedIn Easy Peasy podcast, with this live stream show that I do every Tuesday. I'm just trying to highlight and showcase the LinkedIn leaders that I feel have something to say that will help everybody. So take advantage of, finding quality people and lock onto them, follow them. They do good stuff. So that's the only thing that I would add. And once again, guys, thank you so much for being here. Happy birthday again to Debbie. Do I have any more? Do I have any more? I don't know. Do I have I have a happy birthday gift, and that's the snow. So we can just get so silly here with some balloons, wishing Debbie a happy birthday. So anyways, it has been awesome for you guys to be here. You're welcome. Happy many returns, Debbie. Maybe we see you back every year to do this.
Thank you.
Always on you. Oh, great way to celebrate your birthday.